Hello, I am Tiffany Coleman with the Augusta University IRB office. Today I'm going to be doing a quick tutorial on how to submit a new study to the IRB for review, specifically an interview research study. All right, so the first thing that you're going to need is an IRBnet account. And to get this, you would go to irbnet.org. You would click on new user registration. You would then create your username and your password. And then it will prompt you to select an organization to affiliate with. And of course, you would select Augusta University. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and log in. Okay, so once you're logged in, you're gonna go to the left side of your screen and you're going to select Create New Project. Once you select that, it will take you to this new screen. So at that point, you would then create your information as listed here. So title, the principal investigator's first name and last name, and any other additional information that you would like to add. At that point, you would select Continue. So here you will see that your project has been created and you do have an IRBnet number at the top that you can reference. So at this point, I would select you to reference our Getting Started checklist that can be found in the researcher's library, as indicated here. All right, and then you can select a document, and the guidance is called Investigator Guidance, Getting Started Handbook for Internal Submissions. So the Getting Started guidance for internal IRB submission breaks down all of the submissions that are sent to the IRB, Augusta University IRB for review. And it has a table of contents that you can go through to see what submissions that you would submit to our IRB for review. So in this situation for this tutorial, we're going to select submitting a new exempt study and guidance on that. So as a reference, I did want to bring up our exempt research policy for your review. Most interview research does fall under exempt category 2. Which is listed here if at least one of the following criteria are met. So like I said, in general, this would be the category for interview research, but you need to make sure that your research does fall in this and one of these criteria are met. Please keep in mind, if the study involves, some vulnerable populations or some other aspects, it may no longer be exempt in criteria, it may be expedited, but this is generally the case for interview research. Okay, so going back to our Getting Started checklist, it breaks down what's going to be needed for this new exempt study. City training, and also you're going to need to have a current CV. So as far as required documents, I'm going to go through the core data form of what will be needed for this type of research. All right, so to complete the core data form, you would select Start a Wizard, and you would select Core Data Form. Create a new wizard from scratch and continue. All right, so this page gives you some general instructions on how to complete, and then you select Next. All right, and then you would begin answering your questions. Research lay summary, enrollment contact name, phone number, email. If there is a website, the website. Eligibility criteria, keywords, if there is a body system, if you would like this study listed on the Augusta University Research Studies website to aid with recruitment, has this project previously been submitted to the IRB? Please indicate which IRB you're going to submit to. So this will be submitted to IRB B, Social Behavioral Education. And again, for simple interview research, the level of review should be exempt review. Category 2, and then you put your justification as listed on that policy I just showed you. And then select next. All right, basic criteria for eligibility for exemption. All of these answers should be no, to ensure that the study does fall under the exempt category. Please keep in mind for exempt research protocols, you do not need to submit a separate protocol template. The protocol is going to be embedded in the core data form. That'll be coming up next. Right here. So here you start to list your study design, your objectives, background resources or references for this research, inclusion, exclusion criteria, who can be in the study, who cannot be in the study, any risks. Normally with interview research, the risks may be, confidentiality risk, and then you need to specify how you will protect the participants' confidentiality. You will ensure you're storing the information appropriately, or anything else that you need to think of based on your type of study, how you will protect the participants' confidentiality. What are the benefits? All right, and then you just keep going, answering the specific questions on the core data form. So I also want to note that if you do have any questions with filling out the core data form and the different questions that are asked and what they mean, we do have a guidance document that breaks down every question on the core data form. And again, it can be found in your research library within IRB-Net. All right, and the title of this document is called Instructions, Augusta University IRB-Net Protocol Submissions Instructions, Core Data Form. All right, so as you can see, it breaks down the core data form, gives you general instructions on how to complete it, and it goes through each question and gives you some added information in blue on what the IRB would be looking for these specific questions. Okay. So on this section of the core data form, internal review, project information, this is the section where you would indicate what your research involves. So for an interview, a simple interview research study, there wouldn't be no hospital approval required. That would be no biologics, no. This would not be a chart review. Normally there's no identifiable information. Secondary research use of identifying information is normally no biospecimens. Again, no secondary use of identifiable biospecimens, no chemicals. There's normally no deception or authorized deception, no investigational devices or drugs, no for educational settings, no for focus groups, no HUDs. Research conducted on the internet, normally this is no. But here you would select interviews, okay? For survey research, unless your project encompasses that also, you would also select no, no. Radiation exposure, of course, no. International research is normally no. All right, so this is where you would select that your study involves interviews. All right, so I also wanted to highlight this part of the core data form. So you complete your PI information, please, pretty self-explanatory. For additional personnel, if you are a student researcher, you will need a faculty sponsor. So this is where you would enter your faculty sponsor's information. And also if there's anyone else on the study from Augusta University that will be involved in the research. So I just wanted to point that out also. Okay, so on this section of the core data form, it asks about consent information. And I just wanted to specify, although the research and interview research would be considered exempt in review, the regulations do require some form of consent that is given to the participants. Normally for interview research, I see either a web-based survey consent letter or either a paper-based survey consent letter. So in order to find the consent letter templates, they would again be located in your library, which is here, Forms and Templates. You click on that and it takes you to your library. You should see Documents for Researchers, and then you click on that. Our consent templates, you scroll to the bottom, are named as such templates. And here you have a consent survey-based or a consent, a consent survey paper-based or a consent survey web-based. All right, so I also wanted to highlight this section of the core data form, compensation information. This is where you would select if you are going to pay the participants for completing the interview. And if so, this is where you would put that. And it would be yes, subjects will be compensated, or either no, subjects will not be compensated. All right, please keep in mind if they are compensated, you need to put that language in your consent document. All right, so we have completed the core data form. Right here it says form complete. I want to bring your attention to other required documents. So based on your specific research and things that you select on the core, there may be other required documents that you will need to submit. For example, of this one, of course, I selected this is an interview study. So the IRB needs to get a copy of your interview questions and needs to be uploaded as a separate document. Another thing that I selected just for an example is that an advertisement would be used. And again, this is just for example, if you're not using a specific advertisement for recruitment, this will not apply to you. But since I selected that on the core data form is notifying me that I need to upload the advertisement. A copy of the consent letter, which we already went through. We need to complete that template for our specific study, and that will need to be uploaded. Okay. All right, so once we're done with the core data form, we would hit save and exit. All right, so to upload documents, you would go to Designer, and you see the core data form here, last modified, says that it's done, okay? So you would attach a new document. So for instance, that consent form that we needed to complete, you would attach a document, click here, go to wherever you have it saved at, and upload it. And you see here, it's going to attach. This is a consent, so you would list this as a consent. All right, and so this is how you would attach new documents to your submission. All right, so we're going to go back to our getting started checklist and make sure we've done everything that we need to do. All right, so we've done the core data form. It says here we also need a data collection form. And so for this specific research study, interview research, we would need your interview questions. That would be your data collection form. If there's anything else that you wish to collect, that's where you will upload it here as a data collection form. As we've already discussed, applicable supplemental forms that are listed once you complete the core data form. Research data storage form and the conflict of interest form. All right, so again, located in the library, the Forms and Templates library of IRB Net is where you would find the research data storage attestation and also the conflict of interest form. So the research data storage attestation will need to be signed by the principal investigator and the faculty sponsor. We accept either DocuSign or a wet signature. The conflict of interest will need to be signed by everybody who is listed as a research team member. All right, so again, going back to our checklist. So other potentially required documents are advertisements, recruitment scripts, as we've already discussed. If you do have that in your research, you would upload that here. All right, and again, we would need the CV linked and also the city training of all individuals who are listed on the study. The submission will need to be signed by the principal investigator, the department chair, and the faculty sponsor for student and resident researchers. So in order to sign the project, you go back to your projects. Interview research was the one that we were just working on. And let's just say we're done with everything that we need to submit. We would click sign this package. And I would be signing as the principal investigator. And this is how the department head would sign. And this is how the sponsor would sign. All right. All right, and then the individual would be prompted to submit, to enter their username and password again. And then here it says the package was signed and when. Okay. All right, so once we're done with the submission, we would go over here and we would click submit this package. So this is very important, a very important step. The IRB does not see this until you click submit this package, all right? So we would submit. And you would select Augusta University Committee B. Submission type, this will be a new project. If you have any comments, you can add them here. Otherwise, you would click submit. All right, so at that point, you'll get a notification from IRB Net telling you that this package has been successfully submitted for review. All right, so again, thank you for sitting with me as I go through this quick tutorial of how to submit an exempt interview research study. Please note that every study has different nuances, and so that may require some changes based on that study. But again, if you have any questions or any comments, please do not hesitate to reach out to the IRB office. I'm Tiffany Coleman, so I would be your first contact. All right, thank you and have a good day.